Two of my favorite video games of all time are Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, I've talked shit about these games before, but you have to believe me on this, they are probably some of the best games ever released. They are both very revolutionary in the gaming genre, and I personally think some of Rockstar Games' most great games, other than Earthworm Jim, of course. Open world games are my favorite kind of games, because of the amount of things you can do. Anyways, today I'm going to be putting these two games in a battle. I'll kind of grade them in different categories. I will also list their positives and their negatives. And remember, this is my opinion, and my opinion is right. Alright, let's start the storyline. A quick summary of the GTA 5 story is basically that we follow three different protagonists, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. You see, there's a robbery at the beginning of the game, and Michael is shot during the heist. He then uses this as an opportunity to fake his own death and escape. Trevor Phillips, this guy who was in the heist at the beginning, he still thinks Michael is dead until he learns that he's actually still alive. He then travels to Los Santos to reunite with Michael. We also have Franklin, who is our third and final protagonist, commit profitable crimes and heist with our other two protagonists in the city of Los Santos. So it's a pretty decent story overall, but I think having three protagonists makes the story a little messy, but it's still a cool feature to have. And with that, let's move to Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay, let me start off by saying this. Red Dead Redemption 2 has the best storyline I've ever seen in a video game. It wins. It already wins. Red Dead Redemption 2 excels at storytelling, through its world and especially through its characters. I need to tell you this, I have never felt for a character in any other game besides Red Dead Redemption 2. You know why? Because they're all fucking robots. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, I actually like the characters. Something that I mentioned in my Cyberpunk video is that I like when the main character isn't put on a platform, and that is the same as it is in this game. Dutch and Micah are the coolest villains I have ever seen in a video game. I also like how it's implied that Dutch has a nice side to him. He feels remorseful for his actions. And I also think Micah is a great psychopath, feeding lies into Dutch's brain, influencing what the group will have to do next. I mean, it's just all really good. The fight with Micah in the end, beautiful, just beautiful. The fire in the background illuminating the two characters. Oh wait, I just realized the only way to get this fight is if you chose this way. If you chose the other way, you're a pussy. I think Arthur is a good protagonist, although I feel like he's kind of annoying sometimes. Like, he always listens to Dutch. Okay, Dutch, I don't know, Dutch. I don't know about this one, Dutch. Like, shut the fuck up. You definitely deserve to get tuberculosis. The map in Grand Theft Auto 5 is incredible. It totally nails being a parody of Los Angeles. I think the huge city is a great setting and all the buildings are unique and look different from one another. You can tell Rockstar worked hard to make sure every building had their own personality and their own story behind them. It's not just copying and pasting buildings like in other games. So yeah, Los Santos feels like a real city, but here are some issues with it. For one, most of the buildings are just PNG textures, and let's just say they look pretty fucking awful. I'm gonna cut this game some slack since it came out about 9 years ago, but I mean, if you're going to use an image texture, make sure it's at least, oh I don't know, 720p. A good example of doing this right is the Spider-Man game. Basically, they had a building, and instead of using a crappy PNG texture to put over the windows, they made a shader so that when you looked in the windows, it looked like a 3D room, and every angle you turned would correspond to the angle of the room. Now, granted, the Spider-Man game did come out about 5 years after Grand Theft Auto 5, so, well, that's something they can use for GTA 6. Okay, another issue I have with the GTA 5 map is that there are not that many interiors that you can see. And no, I don't mean interiors that you can see during missions, but rather, interiors that you can enter while walking around the city, like the gun store and the strip club. Also, there's like no point in buying a new house in GTA Online. No matter how different they look on the outside, they will always look the same on the inside. There are only like 4 different interiors for homes in this game. So basically, there's the poor one, the middle class one, the rich one, and then the really rich one. And I think the final issue I have with the GTA 5 map is something that a lot of people feel the same way about, and that's the diversity in locations. Now, the GTA 5 map may be huge, but there's only really 2 locations. The desert and the city. That may be oversimplifying it, but that's not far off. I mean, for example, when you're playing GTA Online, where are you and your friends most of the time? You're in the city! Where do you make most of your money? In the city. When you and your friends get into fights with other players, where are you most of the time? In the middle of the goddamn city. No one is fighting out in the middle of Paleto Bay. And you know why? Because there's nothing there. I mean, Sandy Shores is a little better, but it's still not that great either. There are only 2 reasons I think that people would be out here. 1, to goof around with friends and they don't want to be in the middle of the city where everyone else is. And 2 is for people who are too poor to afford facilities and bunkers in the city. Basically what I'm saying is that I wish there was more to do in these locations, and a more diverse range of them, so that it would make sense to travel to different towns in order to reach your destination. In Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't think this problem really exists. For starters, the map is huge. Just from looking at it, it's already clearly more than double the size of the GTA 5 map, and it also happens to have some very diverse locations. I mean, there are swamps, mountains, deserts, forests, and there are also about 12 different towns. And what's great about this is that there are actually things to do in these towns. And thanks to the great story of Red Dead Redemption 2, you get to explore a very good bit of the map. I mean, some locations there is no point in going to, like the mountains. It's just a bunch of snow and it's really cold, so your character's weak, and the only enjoyment is probably watching your horse's balls shrivel up, so that's where some of the budget went. There's also a lot more enterable buildings with furnished interiors. Oh, and this game actually got the whole PNG interior thing right. I mean, is it that hard? I just realized you could just put up curtains in the windows. That's a really simple way of handling the issue. In conclusion, I'm gonna have to hand this one to Red Dead Redemption 2 again. Look, GTA 5 nailed the big city aspect, and it also has some memorable locations of its own. But in my opinion, I don't think GTA 5 can hold a T to the amazing map of Red Dead Redemption 2. So for this category, I'm once again giving it to Red Dead Redemption 2. Grand Theft Auto 5 had very revolutionary graphics for the time, and hell, I'd say they still even hold up today. Obviously, there are many other games that look better, but they've also come out in more recent times with better technology. Remember when expanded and enhanced promised ray tracing? Yeah, that's still not a thing. Moving over to Red Dead Redemption 2, this game looks amazing. It is the best game I have ever seen. Well, mainly in the realism department. Red Dead Redemption 2 makes me appreciate nature. The lighting is just perfect in this game. It feels so soft and gentle, and then becomes harsh and intense during fight scenes or serious moments. The ground also has texture to it, with grass, rocks, hills, and bumps, showing the imperfections of the earth. While when you're in GTA 5, if you look at the road, it's just a texture, a flat texture. Granted, Grand Theft Auto 5 also does a good job at showing the imperfections in the world, with bumps and scratches being abundant there as well, but I think Red Dead does a better job at giving the world depth. The snow crunching beneath your feet. This game just has a lot of really cool features on top of the cool graphics. There are so many moments when I'm in Red Dead Redemption 2 that I just turn on cinematic mode and look at the nature around me. I mean, look at this! This looks like a movie! All in all, Grand Theft Auto 5 has some pretty good graphics, but I'd say Red Dead Redemption 2 will also win this round as well. Damn, you might be thinking, GTA 5 is taking so many losses, can it do anything right? Well, in this part, yeah, it can. In both of these games, I think that the online mode has slowly deteriorated over time, with less and less updates being added, something that I highly emphasized in my Red Dead is Dead video. But I'm gonna look at the online mode from both of these games when they were their most popular. Personally, I think that Grand Theft Auto Online is a really good online game. Sure, it's not as fun now, but at its peak, it was just awesome. A lot of others felt the same way as well. I can just remember staying up late with my friends, grinding missions, getting new cars, getting new properties. I mean, during that time was probably the most fun I have ever had on a video game with friends. And I mean that as an extremely high compliment. I feel like GTA Online just worked better with friends. Having this huge city to mess around in made it great, because you could grind and try out all sorts of new vehicles. Now, I don't think this was as much of a case with Red Dead Redemption 2. When I first started playing the online mode, I'll admit, I had a blast. It was something new, refreshing, and very interesting. Me and my friend roamed the huge map, fought other players, completed bounty hunts, got into bar fights. It was great. But very quickly, I started to realize that there wasn't that much else to the online mode. Sure, the map was bigger and there were more locations, but there wasn't nearly as much content as there was in the online mode of GTA 5. I also think that a game that takes place more recently is more marketable than a game that takes place 100 years ago. So, in conclusion, I think GTA 5 takes the win for this category. Grand Theft Auto 5 kinda has a screwed up timeline. I mean, I know we get new missions, so we're technically in 2022 in GTA Online, but some things are still stuck in 2013. For example, this building. It has literally been under construction for 9 years. Nah, but we're not talking about that. From what we know, GTA takes place in the same time period as our own, in the world of smartphones and vehicles. While on the other hand, Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place in 1899. At least at the beginning of the game and in the online mode. This means that there aren't flying vehicles or well, any vehicles at all. Nope, we're on trains and horses and buggy, which I think it's cool to look back at this time and see what we did differently. But if I'm being totally honest, I think I'd choose GTA's time period rather than this one. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the old-timey feel, but I also like being in the modern day with vehicles. To me, it seems like there'd be much more to do in a more recent time. Also, if I ride my horse into a wall or off a cliff, it dies. That shit ain't bouncing back. But if I crash my car, I can get it fixed. I mean, in GTA 5, there are many different activities you can do. While in Red Dead, you're more focused on not getting typhus and yellow fever. Or I don't know, you could go roll a hoop with a stick or something. The more modern time period allows for more fancy gadgets and things that just seem out of this world. Now, I don't really like this approach all the time, and sometimes I'd side with Red Dead. I like its more grounded feel. I mean, to be fair, some of the gadgets in GTA Online are pretty stupid. Like, we have futuristic weapons and flying vehicles. Yet, we still have these 2013 phones. And even if the timeline's a little messy, I would definitely choose GTA 5's timeline over Red Dead's. So for this round, I think GTA would win. Now, from what I've listed, you probably think that I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is the better game. But I would have to stop you right there. While based on everything I listed, Red Dead might have done better, it's based on personal preference. And honestly, I can't definitively state whether GTA 5's better or Red Dead Redemption 2's better. But here's the way I'll put it. I think Red Dead Redemption 2's story is leagues better than GTA 5's, with better characters, and it kept me wanting more every single time. And on the other hand, I think GTA 5's online mode is way better. I've also just made a lot more memories on GTA 5. And me and my friends had a lot more fun on that game. So, in conclusion, if I'm going straightly based off of campaign, then I would choose Red Dead Redemption 2. But if I was going off of gameplay and a game to play with friends, then I would go GTA 5. So, it was a tie. Probably what you guys didn't want to hear. Oh, hey, quick question. Do you know what grows on trees?